I am Curran Bhatia, joined by Tony Paige. Tony, we heard you for so long on the fan, and I know you're enjoying semi-retirement right now,
Yes.
but I know you're still very active, still in the boxing scene. I'm sure you're still keeping up with New York sports. Tell me about life right now for you.
Life for me is good. I like being semi-retired. I still write for the Daily News, but I don't have to watch sports. I watch sports, but it's not like I'm stuck to the TV because I got to talk about it later in the night on the fan. But I look at stuff and I still keep in touch, but it's not every single moment.
Well, I know you covered New York sports for such a long time, and I want to ask you about boxing. But first, let's talk about the state of New York sports right now. We know Mets and Yankees missed the playoffs.
Yep.
First time in a while that's happened. The Jets, we know the situation. Zach Wilson now seemingly has the keys to the castle. A lot of people aren't happy about that. Giants struggled early. They had that amazing comeback. What do you think about the state of New York sports right now?
Well, if the Liberty gets eliminated, then it just keeps up the I guess keeps up the string. It's not good right now, and people have to realize it goes in cycles. We all can't be Bulls fans where they win 6 championships. You can't be Patriots fans. Sometimes all you get is one. Sometimes you get none. But New York, we don't have any patience in this town. If you're a first-round draft pick, you're supposed to be the MVP the first year, Rookie of the Year, All-Pro, everything. Sometimes it's good, like the Jets draft of last year, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. Now, Aaron Rodgers going down changed everything.
Yeah.
And people had them going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I said, wait, he's 40 years old. Can we slow that down just a little bit? Same thing with Daniel Jones. I wasn't convinced he's a $40 million quarterback, and I'm still not.
Yeah.
So you have to, if you have patience, you see what these guys have. Zach Wilson, I don't know how much more patience. He might have one more game. I was thinking you put him in with a hurry-up offense from the first play of the game. That way he doesn't have time to think. He just reacts. But I don't know how good he's going to be.
I'm sure you can imagine doing an overnight with the Jets fans calling in and trying to get Zach Wilson out of there. You mentioned one more game maybe for him. The question then becomes, Aaron Rodgers not coming back for a while.
Right.
What do you do? if you bench Wilson, what do you do then?
You know what? You could run the ball. I don't know what you're going to do, because what got me started with the team was when the defense started saying they were the 85 Bears.
Yeah.
Look, the 85 Bears didn't become the 85 Bears until after the season.
Right.
The 27 Yankees didn't become the 27 Yankees until after they won the World Series.
Yeah.
To say somebody, we're like, we're the new Ted Williams. No, you've got to prove it first.
Yeah.
And the defense, I don't know if they're that good. We'll find out, because now it's going to be all on them. And after a while, you're on the field so long, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're tired.
Yeah.
And you just don't have the energy after a while. What they're going to do after that, they have to find somebody. You take a guy like Carson Wentz off the scrap heap. And I think that's a possibility. I like Carson Wentz, even though he's had his issues, but he's better than Zach Wilson.
There's no denying that, and we've had enough suffering as a Jets fan myself. I want to ask you about boxing. We had Canelo versus Charlo coming up. It's 2 undisputed champions coming together. Charlo moving up 2 weight classes to take on Canelo. What are your thoughts? I mean, one thing is, as fans, we always want to see unification fights. In a way, we're seeing a big one here in 2 different undisputed champions coming together.
It's just odd, though, that I asked Charlo at the press conference, are you going to come in like at 161 or catch weight? He said, no, I'm coming in at 168. And he was adamant about it. So I'm like, so you're going to put on 14 pounds to fight a weight you never fought before. Canelo's probably going to come in as a true light heavyweight. And it's nice, it's undisputed versus undisputed, but that's the problem with boxing. There never was the word undisputed before. It's just, this is the champ. That was the word. Right. Now, you could win 2 titles out of 4 and you're undisputed, but that doesn't mean you're the best. So, I mean, it's a good fight. People want to see if the young guy can pull it off. I don't think so. It's just, to me, it's too much weight to add on. It takes away, even though you have power, that power doesn't translate that weight doesn't translate into power.
And speaking of top fighters in the game, a lot of people are saying if Charlo is successful, that puts him right up there in the pound for pound talk. We saw what Terrence Crawford did against Errol Spence, and I think it was shocking to see how easily he did that and how overmatched Spence was. We've had some time now since that fight. When you look back at how Crawford Spence, I mean, did you think that was going to happen the way it did?
No, I thought Spence was going to win. I thought it would be very competitive. It could be a split decision. But as soon as he got hit and went down, I said, oh, something's not right. And, he instituted his rematch clause. I don't know what he does to change things. I mean, you're going to dance for 12 rounds. I don't know if he can pull that off, and they're going to go up in weight also. So I didn't expect that. A lot of people went to see it. I saw the fight at my son's house with a whole bunch of people, which I enjoyed because it was a crowd of people who wanted to watch boxing. They knew about the fight, but after the best have to keep fighting the best, and politics stays in the way of it. That's the problem with boxing. You can't have all these organizations where you may be the champ, but you're not the best in that weight class. And that's the thing. That's the problem. Plus, there's regular, super, interim, in waiting. I mean, you just
Diamond, Continental,
franchise.
silver franchise.
I mean, and they said they're creating a
Emeritus,
belt. They're creating a belt for the Charlo Canelo fight. I'm like, why? And stop doing that. It used to be one belt. Maybe you should go back to Ring Magazine as the one belt, but that's politics too.
Right. That's the issue. And I wanted to ask you also about the heavyweight division. We know that there were talks of Joshua versus Wilder maybe taking place in the Middle East. It seems like that might be stalling, but we're not sure. Tyson Fury is facing Francis Ngannou. We all want to see him take on Alexander Usyk. It's a little bit frustrating as a boxing fan to not get these big matchups. Do you think we'll ever see these top matchups at heavyweight?
I think you will, but it's going to take a while. I used to do interviews for international television. We would go and grab people, man on the street, who you think is going to win this fight. I don't think if you said, I'll give you $50, you can name me 2 heavyweights. I don't think they can. Fury fighting a UFC guy, that doesn't help boxing, especially if he loses. And then, because then he's going to fight him again and again and again. You'll eventually see him when people aren't interested. That's when I think they'll put it together. We're going to put this big fight on. That's okay, I don't care. Then they say, uh-oh, we better get it done because the fire's going out. You're supposed to strike when it's hot. It's cold now. And that's the problem with boxing. We know what the big fights are. The fans know what they want to see, but the promoters, I would want to fight you as the #1 contender, but you bring no money to the table. The #3 contender can bring a hell of a lot of money. That's who I want to fight. Well, if you fight that guy, I'm going to strip you. Then you're going to fight somebody else, and it just goes on and on.
So it's one of the many issues right now, and hopefully we get the matchups we want. Just to close it out, we know your voice from the fan for so long, and of course your writing work. But you've had to deal with New York sports fans like myself who are always frustrated, and now we add the frustration of boxing not coming together. How do you've always remained positive and someone that has an optimistic view? I feel like just hearing you overnights and things like that. How did you remain optimistic through it all with things like that?
Because I think, like I said earlier, patience. If you can't, they want to grade people midway during the exam. If the teacher doesn't say stop, it's over, that's your grade. Like, wait a minute, the last 10 questions are my best question. What do you mean it's over? You have to give it time. You imagine if the Yankees said, you know what, we're firing Cashman, we're firing Boone, we're firing the analytical department, and we're starting from scratch, and in 5 years we're going to go on this tremendous run. Everybody's like, wait, 5 years? No, they want it now, and sometimes you do things that aren't in the right best interest of your franchise. And I appreciate what the general managers are doing and try to do, but my biggest problem is the people who run these franchises, they're not as accessible to the press as they should be, because the fans want to know. And it's nice that the writers write about it, but it'd be nice if the writers are writing about the owner talking about it. James Dolan won't talk to anybody. The president of the Knicks won't talk to anybody. Hal Steinbrenner will talk, twice a year? I'm not saying you got to speak every week, but what's going on? What's the next plan? And I know a lot of things are going to go off the rails, and I can see it happening. Like when Rodgers went down, I texted my family, and they were talking about an ankle injury. I said, no, it's an Achilles. It's an Achilles. He either ripped it or he strained it. He's done. That's what happened. I've covered it long enough that you kind of know what it is. He's hurt. It's not. He ain't coming back this year. And then when Roger said a week later or so, I may come back. Stop being so disingenuous.
The speed ramp technique. You're not believing in the speed ramp.
If you and I sprain our ankle, the doctor says 6 weeks. It takes 6 weeks. A professional athlete, they'll say 4 to 6. I'm coming back in 3. Like Saquon Barkley. If you needed the game last week to win, get in the playoffs, I understand playing him. You got a long way to go. You put him in, and he hurts his ankle again, then what? It's you have patience. It's you know, oh, he's not going to play for 3 weeks. Okay, but then he plays for the next 8 weeks.
Yeah.
You play him now, the patience. That's the key, patience. And if you don't have patience, you'll be angry all the time.
Patience and the long game. Tony Paige, I want to thank you so much
No
for your
problem,
time.
man. Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you.